listen to Wrestling Roundup on FreeFM and ArrowFM. As always, I'm Grady, and live on Skype we've got Josh.
Hey!
Merry Christmas to everyone. A little late here in New Zealand and everywhere else, but it is the Christmas episodes of Raw and SmackDown that we'll be talking about. And would it really be a Christmas episode of Raw if we didn't start off with a Miracle on 34th Street match?
It was a fun match. Usually the candy cane kendo stick bothers me. But this year it was bothering me simply because it didn't actually get used. It got introduced, but got taken away. And I felt cheated.
You're like, I didn't want it when I had it, but now that I don't have it, I kind of want it. I always find these Miracle on 34th Street matches with the presents and opening them up to find weapons just so funny, like cheesy funny. Whatever they do, it's generally a pretty good laugh of a match. And the match content this year wasn't actually too bad either until wrestling between Elias and Bobby.
And it still gives us hope that they have plans for Elias.
You keep saying they have plans for Elias, but at the moment all I can see is their plans is having him versus Bobby Lashley for the next 32 weeks. I think we're going to have to wait and see and just cross our fingers for the Elias future going forward, whether that be a title scene or whether that be a little bit of a bump up in the card. But he has definitely, I think that's 2 in a row he beat Bobby? Technically he won TLC. He didn't stand tall, but he... So I'm hoping this is, I guess, the end for their feud. I'm sure it won't be. But we need to move Elias on to bigger and better things. The Raw Tag Team Champions went up against the Revival, and the title did not change hands.
It was a decent little tag match.
I think the way we talk about Raw's tag team division, when we look at a match like this and we say it was a decent little tag match, I think it's quite a big compliment, given their division. It seems as though AOP lost their titles with their manager that kept peeing himself, and now they've fallen off the face of the earth. And then Rude and Gable are around, and the Revival are a pretty good matchup with anyone. I think even despite the whole DX thing 6 months-ish ago, the Revival can show that they're still quite a dab hand, just be able to jump in and do whatever you need them to do with whoever you need them to do it with. Finn Balor, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre, I would not have expected the outcome I got, given the things that I've been shown about these three men. We seem to have despite the numerous reports coming through for Drew McIntyre heading up the card, he seems like he's struggling to pick up the wins, but Finn Balor is getting a teeny-weeny bit of a push himself.
Yeah, he's picked up 2 wins here, and clearly played himself out of this feud.
He's the lucky one.
Yeah. I think that may be part of the... We're going to be starting listening to our fans. Eat it.
Okay. Well, this fan wants Drew McIntyre to win. You can't please every fan.
Yeah, we'll get there.
I'm hoping. I keep my fingers crossed.
Now that Finn's out of the picture, they definitely will have him beat Dolph.
So you're giving Dolph Ziggler a Dolph Ziggler's chance in this feud?
I'm giving him a Vince McMahon chance.
You talked about Vince McMahon. You're segueing for me now. You're setting up my segues. You're like, these segues are always bad from Grady. I'm just going to set him up with a nice and easy one. McMahon decides to show up and be Santa Claus. Give us Ziggler McIntyre in a steel cage next week. Announce John Cena is going to be on Raw and SmackDown. And then give us, finally, the announcement of the Women's Tag Team Championships.
Which will probably be crowned for the first champion at WrestleMania. Because that sounds about right. That's what I would do.
Yeah, I think Rumble's a little bit close, but I feel like it's got to be one of those two. You either need to crown it at the Rumble or crown it at WrestleMania. And if... what is Rumble? Rumble is probably 3 weeks away, if not 4. That's a fairly rushed, assuming they're going to do a tournament. a fairly rushed crowning of a new champion. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. WrestleMania is 3 months out, 3 months and a little bit. So we got to see with that one as well. That's pretty far out, but I think if you stretch out the feuds, I think it'll be a good at least showing for the fans if we can hold cross-brand tag team feuds as well as our division champion feuds as well as other female feuds over a longer period of time. I think it'll be a good preview period for what's going to be happening when these titles are around some people's way. And then straight away from that announcement, we move into Bayley and Sasha, the inevitable duo of enemies turned friends, turned enemies, turned friends, turned enemies, turned friends, teaming up with Ember Moon to take on another pairing of Mickie James and Alicia Fox, with their long-lost competitor Dana Brooke on their side.
It was a decent six-man tag. I do feel sad that they still can't do anything with Dana.
It's a saddening state when I was surprised when I saw Dana show up. She's got everything, and they just don't want to use it. And it's, as you say, very sad. I feel like she could be doing a hell of a lot better. And maybe with this shuffling around and bringing in the tag team division for the woman, we'll see something there, but at least in all of the pairings that have started to happen on Raw and SmackDown, she does not appear on that list. Might be a bit early, but she does not have any friends.
There is a lady coming up from NXT that might work.
I assume we're talking about Lacey Evans?
Yes, because
Nikki Cross and Dana Brooke, although would be awesome, I don't believe is a natural pairing.
No.
Yeah, I could see it. All these NXT call-ups that are happening, I'm very interested in how exactly they are all going to... Lars, Heavy Machinery, Nikki, Lacey. There's so many options here that I'm all like, okay, what's going to happen? Obviously, you're not going to do the same thing for all 6 of them, so I'm anxious to wait and see what happens. Braun Strowman, he's just got his match against Brock and has to hold his way until the Royal Rumble, pretending his elbow doesn't hurt and pretending that Brock Lesnar's there.
And getting the boy a Paul Heyman, who's dressed up as Rudolph.
Yeah, plonking a red nose on him, making fun of him. It's really the only fun thing that Braun gets to do, given the injury and given the fact that his opponent isn't here and he's building towards a big match that we're pretty sure he's going to lose anyway. At least along the way he gets to make fun of Paul Heyman. Everybody loves making fun of Paul Heyman. It wasn't just the tag team title, the women's title was also on the line here. Ronda Rousey defeating Natalya, pretty much as everybody had expected. I don't think anybody heading into that expected Natalya at all to win.
Yeah. It was another really good match for Ronda.
And from what I heard, it was a good match that was not heavily rehearsed. There'd been some recent criticisms, I guess, against Ronda about all of her matches was super rehearsed and all this and that. But by the sounds of it, this one was called fairly much on the fly, and Natalya being able to do it really well with Ronda because they trained together, they worked together. So just being able to have that natural chemistry, and I guess putting Ronda into a different aspect, a bit of a different light, showing that she has a very bright future here still, if there were any people still doubting her. And then someone we didn't expect to have a bright future, in fact we thought his future was over, a certain man-beast decided to show up on Raw as well.
Well, there's always room for another Santa Claus.
I think we had 3 different people dress up as Santa Claus this week, at least. And none of them were Mick Foley. Rhino returns. I guess anything that Baron Corbin did under his reign as not quite general manager has been overturned. And Slater and Rhino are back together. They were only broken up for a week.
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
You think Rhino might not be as friendly as before he's gone?
No, I'm not sure he's back.
Okay.
It may have been a one-off. Him being as Santa Claus.
True. So it wasn't Rhino, it was Santa Claus that helped. That's our excuse. And then finally the main event, Seth Rollins taking out Baron Corbin. I guess as expected. Baron Corbin not having the most luck as of recent. He's either getting beaten up by 100 people or getting beaten up by one person. Someone unlike Corbin, someone who's actually had something positive happen in their wrestling life recently, who we will talk about in roughly 8 to 9 minutes over on the SmackDown side. It's his theme this week. I believe we are playing it because it was Christmas Day, Rusev's birthday, and Rusev Day, the triple combo. So we will be playing Rusev's theme for you now. And you're back with the Wrestling Roundup, FreeFM, ArrowFM, Grady, and Josh. We're on the SmackDown side of the song, and let's just get right to it. I said 8 to 9 minutes. I'm a dirty, filthy liar. Rusev, Shinsuke Nakamura, we got a new United States champion.
Woo!
Not expected, but not unexpected, in the most cryptic way I can put it.
I think the biggest thing for me was I learned that Christmas Day is literally Rusev's birthday. So it actually is Rusev's Day.
So if it's your birthday, is it your name day? Just every time? Or, yeah, it's a special time for Rusev and he gets to celebrate it, because I believe, yeah, it was, SmackDown aired in America on December 25th. So it was all of the days. It's also the United States Championship Day. Very happy for Rusev here. A little, I guess, confused about what exactly the future is going to hold for Shinsuke. He didn't do a whole lot with the belt, and now he no longer has the belt, so I don't quite know where he's going to be.
I don't know. It's just, Shinsuke seems to be in, like, quicksand. He's not going anywhere.
Yeah, every time something sort of happens, he just sort of falls back down. Yeah. I think it's a wait and see with Shinsuke. But I don't know if we are going to see all too much. At least with Rusev, who felt like recently he was also in that same role where he wasn't exactly going anywhere. He was spinning his wheels. He at least gets a go with a championship. And we can see how long he's going to be holding that. Or whether he'll hold it for about 10 seconds. He at least gets to take it home for the holidays. Unless he had to keep it to Shinsuke to avoid the spoilers of the pre-tape, in which case, doesn't matter. Rusev's champion now, and that's all. So who do you think Rusev's first opponent, given that the rematch clauses seem to be no more, who is Rusev's first opponent holding this United States Championship? It's a tough question, it's a big roster.
Well, Randy Orton's not doing anything at the moment.
Yeah, I can see Randy. Randy's not doing anything. He seemed to be slightly involved with the whole Jeff Joe, and then he just sort of fell out again, and he was involved with Shinsuke, and then he sort of just backed out of that. He's kind of afraid of a commitment, it almost seems. But maybe he'll commit when the United States Championship is. One man that seems to be at least flying up the card, definitely not staying stale, is Mustafa Ali, since moving over from 205 into SmackDown. Just picking up wins left, right, and center.
Mustafa Ali is getting a fast track. And I think he'll be in the SmackDown main event for the Royal Rumble.
Okay. Do you think Ali versus Bryan?
Yeah, I'm thinking it'll be Mustafa Ali versus Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. He's not going to win, but he'll have that Neville moment where we thought he won.
It's crazy that, a couple months ago, Mustafa Ali was just slogging it away on 205 Live, and if you'd come to me at that point and you said, who do you think's going to be in the WWE Championship match at the Royal Rumble? First off, I probably wouldn't have picked Daniel Bryan at that point either, but Mustafa Ali wouldn't have been in my top 50. And, then you blink forward to where we are now, and not only is he in the upper echelon of the SmackDown talent, the dude is proving what he did on 205 Live is no fun. Awesome matches with everyone that you put in front of him, and continuing to be the damn good wrestler that everybody saw on 205 Live. He's transitioned really well. Unfortunately, that did mean another loss for Andrade Almas, who has been a little bit unlucky as of late, a little bit Shinsuke-y, in terms of not exactly moving anywhere, despite having the skills to move.
There's a plan. Put him and Shinsuke together as a tag team.
It's just two guys that we don't quite know what they're doing. Bung them together as a tag team. Let's go. Might have to move them over to Raw, though, because the SmackDown tag team division is pretty chock-a-block at the moment. And all in one feud, it seems. Every week we seem to be getting everybody in one huge segment. This week it was Usos and Gallows and Anderson taking out the Bar and Sanity with the New Day on commentary. Is this going to lead to some massive big cluster of a match at the Rumble?
It very well could. Or it could... honestly, I have no clue where they're going with this. They could go with the Bar versus the Club. They could go for a triple threat. They could go with 6-team elimination. Who knows?
Yeah, I'm very interested to see where it goes, just because everybody has been so shoved together. In terms of all of the teams, they're all working together constantly. You don't quite know exactly whether it's going to be, as you say, 2 teams that come out, 3 teams, 4 teams, 5 teams, 6 teams, a goddamn 100 teams. And we're just going to have to wait and see. I think the Royal Rumble, especially on the SmackDown side, is lining up to be a really good pay-per-view. And I think a part of that also, we were just talking about the tag team scene, and we're all like, you know, it could be 6 teams. Maybe we need a 6th team to slide in there because Shane McMahon, he agreed to team up with The Miz.
I don't know what we're doing anymore.
Have you finally fallen off the Daniel Bryan versus Miz at WrestleMania track? Don't tell me that. I don't want to know. That's still where we're going, right?
That's where I'm hoping we're going, but I don't know anymore.
Not only is Shane McMahon a part of the group that is running both Raw and SmackDown, he is now a tag team competitor with a face Miz. I don't know. I'm with you. I have no words. I have no predictions, should I say. I can describe it to you 1,000 times over, still not understand it, and still have no clue what McMahon and Miz are going to be doing in the future. It's kind of a reverse Team Hell No. You know, in Team Hell No, they were both claiming to be the tag team champions, and in this, the tag team together is the best in the world. But in terms of where they're headed, I don't know. Maybe they'll fly themselves in, and as we say, there'll be a 6-team match. I don't know. We gotta get back on the Miz Bryan track, and we gotta get back on it real quick. Daniel Bryan, though, he's sticking to his new personality, and he's not loving R-Truth and Carmella's holiday fun, being a bit of a Grinch.
I would, before the whole events with Mustafa Ali at the middle of the show, I said I'd be okay with R-Truth versus Daniel Bryan at the Royal Rumble title.
Yeah, I think other than the fact that Truth has the number 30 spot, the match would be great. I think R-Truth has proven himself time and time and time again. He can go. He might be 80 years old, but he can go.
Yeah, it is. I would love to see R-Truth get some sort of recognition for his tenure. And in a way, I guess that's what being number 30 is for him. I still expect somebody to steal his spot. Because it wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah. Scrolling back here. Yeah, he's been around for a really long time. And I think, as you say, it's time for a little bit of truth time. And maybe it is just a one-on-one with Daniel Bryan in the main event of SmackDown between now and the Rumble. Even if it's not for the title, I still think he could prove to anybody who's just thinking he's this crazy old comedy character that he can wrestle. So I'd be interested in seeing that between now and Rumble, but as you said, I think Mustafa Ali Bryan is the eventual match that we will see at the Royal Rumble for the WWE Championship. 2 segments left on SmackDown before the end of the show. We'll cram them both in. Samoa Joe, Jeff Hardy, a little bit of a match, and a whole lot of brutalness.
Jeff Hardy snapped during the match. And for a second you thought he became woken, and then he got put to sleep.
Yeah. You said snapped, and I was like, is broken a better word there? But yeah, I'm with you. I think Jeff Hardy, whether he keeps going, whether he falls off back with his brother, whether he's woken, whether he's broken, whether he keeps just doing the charismatic Enigma thing, whether he flips into a heel role.
Or he becomes Willow.
No, that's... Willow. I think Willow was fine. I think it was Itchweed. That was horrendous. Some personalities of Jeff's are fine. Some not so much. But again, it's another one that, sometimes wrestling is goddamn predictable, and we could sit here and we could probably book next week's Raw and SmackDown to a T. And then other times you're really interested in seeing where they take these characters, and I think this is one of those points here with Jeff, on where is Jeff going next. And I'm interested to find out. Maybe next week, maybe the week after. But we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully, it's not a major heel turn, because God knows what happens again. I'm talking about all of these character moments with AJ Styles after he decides to clock McMahon in the head, but then McMahon's happy that he got clocked, and McMahon wanted to bring out the dark side of AJ, and is AJ a heel, or is he just a more brutal AJ that's also still a face, and I don't know anything anymore.
Or is he on a collision course with a certain wrestler whose nickname was the Animal?
That is not where I saw this going at all. I thought maybe you were going to say Triple H here. I saw that collision course happening, and then you just completely and utterly whip out a Batista out of nowhere?
He kept saying the Animal inside. The Animal. And I'm like, well, I'd be alright with the Batista versus AJ match. Because if anybody can get a good match out of Batista at this age, it would be AJ.
I've got nothing. I've got utterly nothing. Much like with Mustafa Ali, when I was saying, asked me a little while ago who I thought was going to be in the title match. If you said that Batista's going to come back for a match and asked me who you think he's going to be with, AJ Styles, probably not high on my list. I thought both times you were leaning towards Triple H. I think Batista versus Triple H is the thing that Batista keeps saying he wants to do, and Triple H AJ could be a thing potentially here with attacking McMahon, other than the fact that Triple H doesn't work Tuesdays. So I think it's an interesting path forward, and SmackDown to me has so many unknowns. They've done that classic cliffhanger where I want to know what happens next week. What's going to happen with Jeff? What's happening with AJ? Who's going to challenge Rusev? What's Shinsuke doing now? What's up in the tag team division? And how are we going to get closer to this Bryan Ali? So many questions. And we'll talk about all of those answers next week, because we're all out of time at the moment. It's been great talking to you.
Bye.
You can visit our Facebook page, facebook.com/WrestlingRadio, Twitter page, twitter.com/WrestlingRadio, and we'll see you next week.